And I think one thing that caused part of the Hasidic split, remember, all Hasidism began as Kabbalah. Sometime around the 1730s, under the Baal Shem Tov, he reintroduced what you might call the passionate dimension into Kabbalah, that not only is a path of stillness, it's a path of passion. And you might say that one thing that defines Hasidism as a passion approach to Kabbalah. So I want to share with you the second half of the reading that I was sharing this morning from Sfat Emet, where he talks about the Aseret Yemei HaTeshuvah, the 10 days of penitence between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So first he says, review from this morning, there are three kinds of tikkun, three kinds of repair. He says there's tikkun hanefesh, which is the world of action. You look at things you did, and you want to repair them. He says, but deeper than that is tikkun haruach. And ruach is more like the inner life that produces speech. So then the next step up, as you're trying to move into the divine, is actually watch the way you speak. This is what I'm talking about. Words you use, the deep meaning of words. And sometimes people use harsh words carelessly. And sometimes when they're caught on the word they use, they say, well, that's not what I meant. Or, well, my motivation was love. Well, if you're really careful, you say exactly what you mean. And you understand the consequences of words. And you understand where words come from. You're highly conscious on as to the nature of language. Because from our perspective, language is the interface between the divine and reality. We say, Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam. God spoke, and the world came into being. Well, we speak, and our world comes into being. Well, what world are you creating with your words? What world are we shaping with each other? So this idea of tikkun hadibur is great consciousness and mindfulness about the use of language. So higher than that, they call it tikkun hanishama, and neshama is connected to the world of machshava, which is the deep patterns of the inner life. So when we think of machshava, we think thought. But remember, the Hebrew word of choshev is weaving. Okay, Maseh Choshev is the weaving of the inner life. So try to imagine your ego self is a woven fabric. And some of the weaving, some of the threads, the material is torn and jagged. And that's what's causing the imperfection, the way we speak and behave. So in Tikkun HaMachshava, you're going down into the fabric of the ego self and trying to repair the ego self according to you might say, the standards, the realm of the higher self. So this takes a lot of work. The example I gave this morning, I gave the example of an angry father, a person whom I actually counseled several years ago. And his wife was really scared for the kid. He's a good guy. If you met him, a truly lovely man. He had explosive anger. And they told me that they were at someone else's house, and his kids, 8 and 10, lost their shoes. And the dad blew up. The kids got really scared. So the mom brought the dad in. She says, he has to stop. And I brought him in. I said, what's up? He said, well, they don't respect property. And those shoes cost a lot of money. And they're careless. And if someone doesn't teach them to respect property and respect their things, I don't know who will. And I'm the father, so what I have to do. Right? That's what came out. I said, well, let's just track this anger back. Right? So he went back to responsibility and respecting things and not taking things for granted. We tracked further and back. I said, what you're really doing, at some level, not only, is you're protecting your property. You buy kids expensive shoes, and they lose them, and they have to respect the money you spent. I said, in my opinion, these kids would rather do without the shoes and do without your anger. Because the shoes aren't worth the explosion. If you said to your kids, I'll buy you these shoes, but if you misplace them, I will explode in anger on you, they would probably say, Dad, don't buy us the shoes. Buy his shoes over which you will not explode. I'm sure if he gave them the choice, that's what he would choose. So we went all the way down to the bottom of Machshava. I said to him, if any other man spoke to you the way your kids would speak to you, you'd want to kill them. And he could see himself. He said, yes. I said, now let's move the origin of thought over to defend your children from you. Don't protect your property, protect your children from your anger. Then what would happen? Now this humbled this man. It humbled. a smart, good man, but didn't understand that there's a little point down in the bottom of the world of machshava that when it followed all the way up, he exploded because their kids couldn't find their shoes when it was time to go home. And then it became, protect your children from that. They don't deserve that. We went from there all the way up to a true tafnit, a true turn in what fathering meant. Fathering wasn't ultimately about teaching kids responsibility for their stuff. That's part of it. But the deepest part of fathering is love, is care, is affirmation of a child's goodness, not their faults. So that's today, according to the Hasidic tradition that I read this morning. Tikkun ha-nefesh is the way you behave. Tikkun ha-dibur is your use of words, and tikkun ha-machshava is actually the inner fabric of the ego self. But he goes further. Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom tova uveracha.